So this is a past paper pop quiz 7. In question, when an acid is added to an alkali, the temperature of a reaction mixture rise. Which word describes this reaction? Whenever temperature rise, like if it start with 20 and then it become 22. So this give an idea that the reaction is exothermic. So any option with exothermic is correct. Then whenever acid is reacting with an alkali, it will form a water. And what we call this type of a reaction, we call neutralization. So that's why D is the right answer. The next is the electrolysis of a concentrated aqueous sodium chloride and a molten sodium chloride. So here we have a concentrated sodium chloride. So if we have a concentrated sodium chloride, what are the ions present here? It contains a sodium ion, it contains a chloride ion, and because it's aqueous, so it contains a
Hydrogen.
hydrogen ion and a hydroxide ion. Okay. First, what will happen? We need what are the products at electrode 1 and 2. Now, for a positive ion, always the less in an aqueous solution, the less reactive positive ion will move. So which is less reactive positive ion?
Hydrogen. Hydrogen.
Hydrogen. So hydrogen is less reactive, so hydrogen will move towards electrode 1. So any option with electrode 1 with a hydrogen is correct. So that is what we have to check. Now it's a molten sodium chloride. So if it's a molten sodium chloride, only sodium ion is there and the chloride ion is there. Sodium will move towards the negative electrode and the chlorine will move towards the positive electrode. So electrode 2 will have a chlorine. So chlorine will be there. That's why B is the right answer. In question 3, sodium react vigorous with water to form aqueous sodium hydroxide, which is a strong base. Explain in terms of the proton transfer what is meant by the base. Acids are proton donors. So what are bases?
Acceptor.
So
Proton
bases are
acceptor.
proton acceptors. Proton acceptor means it will take proton. State the pH number that indicate the presence of a strong alkali.
14.
So we can say 14. State the color of a methyl orange in aqueous alkaline. In alkaline medium, what is the color of methyl?
Yellow.
It will be
Yellow.
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 Or if it was acidic, then what we write?
Pink.
If it was
Pink.
acidic, methyl orange, what will the color?
Pink. Pink. Pink.
Pink. So if it's neutral, so it will be orange. Yeah. Another question related to moles, and again the same way we solve the moles question. What is the rule of solving these moles question? The first part you always solve by formula. The second part you solve by, the third part you solve by formula. Okay. For 3 parts, it's always a sequence. And again, you see, we have to convert. Yeah, fourth part is there, mole per dm cube to gram per dm cube. So what we do, we'll multiply by the molar mass. Okay. Now we follow the steps. Calculate the number of the moles of sodium. What is given about sodium in the question? The mass is given about sodium. So if we know the mass of a sodium, the formula to get the moles equal mass in gram divided by the molar mass. Molar mass means atomic mass or a molecular mass. The mass in gram of a sodium is 0.345 and the atomic mass of a sodium is 23. So 0.345 divided by 23. What's the mole number? How many moles are there? 0.016. Now determine 0.1016 or 15? Because someone wrote 1.16.
0.35 divided by 20.
0.4345. It should be 345. Hmm? Okay. Next is determine the number of moles of sodium hydroxide. So how we determine the moles of sodium hydroxide? We always take ratio between the quantity which we calculated in the previous part and the quantity we need now. So we calculated sodium and we need sodium hydroxide. And for ratio, you always see the equation. How many moles of a sodium do you see in the equation? How many moles of a sodium you see in the equation?
2.
2. So this is 2 moles of sodium. How many moles of sodium hydroxide are there? 2. So the ratio is 2:2, or we can also say 1:1. So 0.016. So this will be x. Cross multiply. How 1.5 it? If because ratio is 1:1. What is this?
0.016.
No, do one thing, Abdul Rahman. 0.345 divided by 23.
You are only trust me calculation.
0.345 divided by 23.
How many 3, 4, 5?
345 divided by 23.
0.15.
23.
0.15.
0.015.
No, you told me 0.016.
Yeah, you said 1.
Yeah. Yes.
0.015.
So so this is 0.015. So this is x. So when we cross multiply, we got 0.015. You for first part you were saying 0.016. Then the concentration of a sodium hydroxide. If we need the concentration, again we use a formula. Concentration is moles divided by volume. So moles are 0.015. And what about the volume of the sodium hydroxide? The volume of the sodium hydroxide is 50 cm cube, but it should be in deciliters.
0.0.
So 0.05.
Zero point 0.3 mole DMQ. 0.3 mole.
How much? 0.3
0.3.
mole per dm cube. Okay. So 0.3 mole per dm cube. Now, after getting this sodium hydroxide concentration in mole per dm cube, we want to convert into grams per dm cube. So we just have to multiply by molar mass. What is the molar mass of a sodium hydroxide? Again, you have to check the periodic table. When you check the periodic table, you'll find sodium is 23. Oxygen is 16 and hydrogen is 1. So when you add them, 23 plus 16 plus 1, so it will become 40. So what you have to do, it's 0.3 multiplied by 40. So you got 1.2 grams per decimeter. So it is 1.2
Well,
grams per decimeter cube.
sir, I'm getting 12.
12?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, 12. I thought it was 0.4 is there rather than 40. So 12 grams per dm cube.
For this part?
For moles question, it's error carried forward always. What does it mean, error carried forward? Let's say, as we were discussing, let's say this was 0.016 for us. Okay. Then we'll get 0.016 here. Then we will do 0.016 divided by. So you will you lose the mark here, the first part. And you will, even though your answers are not correct, but you will score the marks. Because the moles question is always the error carried forward. If you have to use your wrong answer for the next part, you will score the marks. Okay.
Then how many marks for this part?
Total, this is a 4 marks, this moles question. So this is a structure pop quiz 7. So even if one part is wrong in the moles, it's not like the whole question is wrong. Only,
Like math.
yeah, you get error carried forward.
He's better than math.